Hi YouTube world, hello guys. Hi my 6 subscribers. First off, I'm sorry I haven't made a video in a little bit, but school has just been so busy. But I promise I am gonna make another live video of me gaming probably like in the next 2 weeks. School has just been crazy right now and my grade isn't that great, so I really need to focus more on that. But I will get back to gaming, I promise. So anyways, today I wanted to talk about asexuality. The reason that I wanted to make this video is I was watching The Real on YouTube, and hi The Real, I'm a big fan. But anyways, watching this segment, it was called What Happens After the Honeymoon Phase Ends. And they were talking about, relationships. And the one co-host, Adrian, was saying, some people, just don't like sex. And so your sex lives can, change after you've been in a relationship for a while. And the other co-host, Jeannie, who I do like, but she did make, in my opinion, a rude comment or ignorant comment. She said after Adrian said some people just might not like sex, she goes, "Who doesn't like sex? And I wouldn't be friends with people who don't like sex." Okay, so the reason why this kind of upset me is because I know asexuals. I'm not. I identify as a sexual person. I feel like the majority of people, but there is a minority of people who are asexuals, and it's not talked about enough. So people make comments like that when they really don't understand what it is. They don't know people who are asexuals, or they know people but they don't know that they are asexual. So I just wanted to make a little video. Hopefully it's kind of educational about the topic, because obviously there needs to be more awareness when famous people are saying things like that. And I will admit that before I knew a lot about asexuals, I was confused and I was like, what? Growing up, I didn't know any asexuals. I never even heard the term asexual probably until I was, in my late 20s. I feel like this younger generation, the Z generation, is a lot better at getting out information about different sexual orientations and preferences, and is a lot more open. I feel like every generation gets better at that, but there still is a lot of confusion and discrimination and shame around what really is just another sexual orientation, preference, label, whatever you want to call it. So I did some research when I first started learning about it and knowing people who were asexuals. There's a great website. It's called asexuality.org. You should check out, if you're either asexual and you feel alone, or you're like me and don't know a lot, check out that website. It will open your mind. It's also called the AVEN network, and basically, yeah, it's a great place to start getting information if you don't know about it or you want to learn more. And basically you learn that asexual people, I mean, they're all different people, but what they mostly have in common is they either aren't interested in sex, have very low interest in it, or they are disgusted sometimes, or grossed out by it even, or physically it makes them sick. But it's a spectrum just like any other sexuality. I feel like sexuality in general is more of a spectrum than we like to think it is. As far as being gay, being straight, I feel like is on a spectrum. Sex drives, I feel like, are on a spectrum. Some people are very high, some people are very low, and then just the desire to have sex with another person, like with asexuals, is on a spectrum, or anybody really, but so asexuals just don't really have an interest in having sex with another person, or they don't like it, or they have a real aversion to it. And it's just like a personal preference. Sexuality only, it's an important part of ourselves, but in the big scheme of things, it's only like, that much of a person's personality or composition, whatever. So I feel like there shouldn't be discrimination. It's just something that you're born with. Just like you're born to be straight or you're born to be gay. I feel like we're starting to learn more about transgender people, even though I feel like there's still a lot of shame in making fun of people who are trans, and there should be, but I feel like there's even less awareness about asexuals. I don't know of a celebrity that's an asexual or a famous person. So I wish that more celebrities would come out and would get that exposure and give that perspective so that people aren't, in the dark and making like rude and ignorant comments. I feel like there's a lot of discrimination, especially against male asexuals, because we think of males as like that's a defining characteristic, is that they have to be sexual, when in reality, no, it's not. And that makes up like a small, it's not the biggest part of a person, their sexuality. So I wish that there was more awareness about that. Yeah, and I feel like we've come such a long way since when I was growing up, because when I was growing up, I was raised Catholic, and although I do have an aunt that's gay, and I was kind of raised that there's no shame in that, whatever, but being Catholic, there was kind of a discrimination against gays, I feel like, and kind of like a shame aspect, like with a lot of Christian religions, I feel like, when really it's like, that's just how you're born, like there shouldn't be discrimination against it. So it makes me upset when people say things like, oh, I wouldn't be friends with somebody who's asexual. I mean, does that make any sense? We're friends with people who are gay or trans or whatever. Just because somebody isn't like you doesn't mean you shouldn't be friends with them. In fact, like, open your world a little bit. Asexuals are kind of, unique and are a minority, and I feel like that brings something to the table, and you can gain a lot from being friends with people who are asexuals, like just a bigger, broader perspective of things, and realizing that not everybody is like you. People have all different perceptions, and also I feel like with gender identity, there's also a spectrum. Like, some people really identify with being feminine and being a female, that are females, and then there's some girls who are like, I'm more like a man, or I'm more just gender neutral. So I wish that people understood more about sexuality and gender, and that it's more complicated than we might have been raised to think, or we might think just because we are, the stereotype, that we realize there are other people out there who are very different from us, and we should respect that. So yeah, hopefully that opens your mind and perspective a little bit. Like I said, check out asexuality.org. Also, there's a lot of great YouTube videos out there if you want to learn more about it. I feel like we have so far to come still. Like, in many ways, we've come very far, I feel like, as a society, in respect to, like, gay rights and everything. But we still have so so much more to go as far as the trans community and asexual community. And I just hope that we continue to progress, get more open, talk about these things. I feel like it's definitely going to help. And just having an awareness that there are other people out there who might not feel the same way you do. There's also another thing called romantics. Basically, some people are aromantics and some people are romantics. So there's asexual people out there who, just because they don't have an interest in having sex with another person, doesn't mean that they don't want to be romantic with somebody else. Like, they do want to share their life with somebody else, and they are interested in, you know, non-sexual things that are intimate sometimes, like hugging or kissing. And they do, like, you know, getting love notes or doing romantic things like getting their partner nice gifts. They're just not interested in the sexual part. Or they might not like the kissing and cuddling. They might just not like the physical touch part at all, too. I mean, like I said, it's on a spectrum. Like, every asexual person is different, and it's just a label. It doesn't mean that they're the stereotype label. They might, in fact, there's probably some people out there who identify as asexuals who do maybe like sex a little bit, or they can tolerate it, like they just have a low sex drive, but they more identify as being an asexual. And then there's also people who are sexual people out there, but are aromantics. So what that means is they're interested in, you know, having sexual relations with other people, but they're not interested in the dating and, like, getting to know another person and building a relationship and, you know, things like getting hugs and getting, you know, the love notes and gifts and spending time together with another person. So I just wanted to bring those topics up. I'm sure there's a lot more topics I didn't discuss, but I wanted to talk about some things that I've discovered in the last few years, and I feel like a lot of people don't know about. So I hope this gets the word out there. Yeah, so comment, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Like I said, I'm going to post some live videos soon with me gaming. Alright guys, see you later.